agenda tonight with flexibility?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with flexibility this evening.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes for June 3rd, 2025, regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 regular meeting.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Clerk treasurer's report.
Oh, I'm not that fast. Payroll vouchers passed around $30,448.98. And the AP vouchers passed around $37,385.41, and that does include Fleming's pay application from the last council meeting. Other than that, nothing crazy.
Make a motion to approve payroll, $30,448.98.
Second that. Apologize for that.
Roll call vote.
We got a motion and a second?
Yep.
All right, roll call vote. Rick?
Aye.
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 We vote on this?
Payroll.
Payroll.
Aye as well. Next voucher?
Make a motion to approve AP vouchers of $37,385.41.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a second. We have any discussion? Roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Seamus?
Aye.
Right.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion passes. Do we have anything else from our wonderful clerk treasurer?
Nope, just working on pre-budgets. Just real quick to fill you guys in. You guys saw the email that I sent regarding the potential of the 27.5% revenue loss over the next 3 years. The other half of that email is not what I explained to you in the email. I kind of went over it with Greg and Scott this morning, but what you're not seeing as part of that is by the end of 2027, we are also going to lose our county lit tax, which is our economic development, our public safety, our CEDAT, and our certified shares, which is 1.2% of what we get from the county pool. So that being said, you know, everybody's tossed around the idea of talking about installing a lit tax. However, with the new regulations that they've passed regarding the lit tax, we have to have a justifiable course and reason for that lit tax, and it has to be a proven plan every 12 months. So we can't just say we want a lit tax. We have to have a reason for it. So like the number one reason that we came up with this morning is obviously our public safety, because we are going to lose 70% of our coverage cost on our public safety.
So the money we pay for the police officer obviously is our big one. So we're gonna lose that.
And we're gonna lose quite a bit of our economic development money. So maybe like this month's payment alone is like $62,000 of revenue. And that's just 1 month. So just something to start thinking about as we're going through future thoughts of what we need to do over the next 2 years.
Are we losing that because of the House bill, or?
It's part of it, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yes. So just trying to make you, I didn't want to put all of that in an email because it's not always as understanding when I've sent, the email was big enough as it was, trying to explain all of the revenue loss with the SB1, but then also explaining the back half of that, which is the lit loss.
Yeah, which we've both been through trainings in the last few weeks about this, and I will say that we're in a better position than smaller towns within the region. For instance, you know, if you have less than that 3,000 population threshold, they can't create their own lit, and they gotta wait on the county to hand them the money. And the county has no, from my understanding, they don't have a requirement to give them a portion of that lit. So they can not only collect lit from them, but then they don't have to give it back to them. So we're in a better driver's seat, but I think the first year we need to see where we're at, since the fact that we have to justify it every 12 months. We don't want to put too much in there and then lose part of it. I don't want to make sure.
And we lose that county lit starting January.
2027. So the end of 2027 is when the county lit will discontinue.
So we have a little bit of time.
Right.
Just like the 27.5%, but we've been talking about it nonstop
Yep.
to prepare. So we're not,
Just something to keep our eyes on as we go into next year, knowing that we're gonna have to probably figure this out and get it established and then have a justification behind it. So,
and we're halfway through this year, so that'll be here before.
doesn't
we
take
know it,
long.
unfortunately.
Right.
Fair.
Yeah. Any other questions over this wonderful stuff for our clerk treasurer?
Not at the moment.
Well, first thing we should do to help save money is cut what we pay engineering resources. Just saying. Anybody? NDOT, Amstead, Cedar Creek Trail, shouldn't take long.
No, just to update, there's still one punch list item that we actually have not revealed yet to the contractor on the trail project. That kind of revealed itself over the rains of the last few weeks. We do have a ditch line that needs to be regraded. But for the most part, they're pretty close to getting that wrapped up. Amstutz Road, same thing, we're kind of down to some final few items. We got the handrail on top of the retaining wall. They're still waiting. They had ordered the wrong handrail. They're waiting for the new one to come in. And then installing the signs at Trading Post and Pioneer Trail. I asked for a projection of what we thought it would be to close that project out. From the time the handrail shows up, I think it'd be about 45 days to what they're calling the pre-final inspection.
Did you say 4 to 5 or 45?
4 to 5.
45 days.
Okay.
4 or 5. So we're probably still a couple months off from fully closing out.
But I mean, it's close.
But it's very,
Yeah.
yeah, both projects are real close. And we'll just stay in continuous communication with the contractors.
Great, thank
They
you.
act like that railing should be in the next 10 to 15 days. Because they ordered the wrong one. I don't know if you guys noticed on top of the wall down here, they put the post, but they did not put the final.
I didn't notice it, but the post.
Yeah, just.
So ironically, after our last meeting, when we talked about this, I went that way on the way home, and there was 3 little kids running on top of that thing with their mom pushing the 4th kid in a baby carriage. And I'm like, maybe we should put some cones up there or something to keep them off.
There's rails up there. Oh,
Yeah, they can't run
Posts.
out. There's poles there now.
Yeah, there's poles.
Poles
there's
are-
poles
The
there.
poles are
I
there, it's just not the
misunderstood. I
rail.
thought you said that it was,
The poles are just sticking up like this,
oh, okay,
and the railing will go across to connect them and
Gotcha.
screw up.
okay.
So there are poles, you
I was
cannot
thinking it was
walk.
all one piece, okay,
No.
gotcha.
No.
All right, never mind.
Well, it is what it is, we're close.
Thanks. As a side note, not necessarily dealing with Derek specifically on this, although he did help give us some detail. The bore crews that are out here doing fiber poles have cut 2 holes in the new road already. And
And
Derek-
raised it.
Yeah, and then, Derek helped me give me a detail on properly repairing that so we can reach compaction and they can repair it properly, so hopefully, we'll still have the seams, but we won't see the settling. And then on the opposite side from one of those, they bored underneath, and I have a meeting tomorrow with the contractor. They raised the trail probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I mean, last night, the only reason I saw it is last night on the way home, I was watching a bike ride down the trail, and I literally watched it jump over the top of it. So, then we were out there today, and we realized not only did it do the trail, it did like 3 or 4 foot of the roadway, too. So, we're meeting on that as well, and that's at that 10 o'clock tomorrow that I told you to have to go to. So, just to give you guys a heads up, I'm trying to stay on top of it, it's frustrating. So,
Well, stuff like that, you shouldn't have to.
no, you shouldn't have to, but I'm out there dealing with it. So if you guys get complaints, somebody says something, we know about some of this stuff. If it's an area that I haven't mentioned, let me know, and I'm happy to go out and look at it and try to get it squared away. Luckily, the contractor's been out here, has been fairly responsive, which is very unusual in these situations. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you, Derek. And then, not really on our agenda, but we attended the bridge meeting set 8 of the concrete pillars going across, and then tomorrow they're gonna move the crane around to the other side, set the next 8 on Thursday, then the crane moves on. So that's, and then the second week of July, they plan on start pouring the decking. It's on track and going well.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to add to that?
What is the expected?
October 8th. So, yeah, they're, luckily right now, they're on schedule.
They're doing a very,
Right, we're all like,
yeah, I mean,
they're very,
the Miller Brothers, the guys out there doing that work have seemed very well put together operation.
I've been nothing but impressed.
They're very assertive, this is where we're at, this is where we're gonna be, and this is the milestone we're gonna hit at this date, and they've hit every one so far. So, which is a crazy thing, but they have done a very good job.
So, yeah, I mean, it's coming back together now. That'll help people see that, you know, think there is an end in sight. So that'll help as well. Fireworks.
Last meeting, you guys approved up to 15,000. At this point, it looks like we're gonna probably spend in the $12,000 to $13,000 if all the donations that have been promised come in. Obviously, every donation that comes in at this point just drops our portion in it. Contracts are signed, inspections are done. We're working on the last little piece for us, which is the Homeland Security, and then we finalizing vendors that want to come out that day. So we're wrapping it up. Just so to let everybody know, to be perfectly honest, Riverside Gardens will still be, that side of the river will still be the best viewing area to view the fireworks. And then seconded by probably the high school, and in that area. And then third would be the elementary school. So you will be able to see them from just about anywhere in town. You'll be able to see them from the plaza downtown. But we're working on creating a map that will say just that, you know, good, better, best kind of viewing. Really, they're going to lose probably the grand finale, some of the low stuff at that point. So I think it'll be all right. I think everybody's going to have a good time. Steady Eddies is going to be open that night. Chemistry 101 is going to open that evening and have drinks and hot dogs and hamburgers and that kind of stuff. I know Penny's, Frozen Spoon will be open, and the candle shop said they would be open, and I haven't talked to the cafe yet. Although they're going to probably be on the outskirts with as far away as it is, but honestly, the plaza is not going to be a bad. So if you stand at the plaza and look over the cemetery, you're going to have a pretty good show. You're going to be able to see 90% of what's going on. So hopefully we can draw some crowds in those areas and people will have a good time. So, any questions? All right.
New business, NERC, Safe Street application.
Let me go grab this. I forgot that blood jigger. I apologize.
In the meantime,
You guys have it.
the groundbreaking's tomorrow at 2. I'm suspecting we may see everybody there.
No, NERC is my stuff.
Oh, your stuff. Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
NERC is mine.
Yours is there. I apologize. And it is loaded.
Yeah. No, the NERC thing is just Rachel Blakeman's working with Dan Avery and the NERC group regarding the Safe Streets, the SS4 basically. They just want to make sure that they're including all the communities except for New Haven because they have their own. Everything you read in the email is basically what I'm saying. So she just wants the council to approve, and then we need to get them the signed letter on letterhead tomorrow. So. Just in support.
Do we need a motion for that?
Would, just because I need to go on something, if I just print it up.
I'll entertain a motion for the NERC Safe Street application for a letter of support.
Second. Oh,
Yes.
First,
yeah, first.
Motion.
Sounds good. We got a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Do we have any more discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, motion passes. as I was just saying, tomorrow is Leader Intermediate groundbreaking, June 18th, 2 p.m. If you can make it, it'd be great.
That's at the new location.
At the location.
Yeah, it's
At the new location there on Hostler and Halter. Last time it was pretty simple, they didn't ask, I mean, they just basically stood there in support, they did their thing, and then we came back here because it was hot.
You're gonna miss out on that? So yeah, if you can make it, if you,
Derek might be there, you didn't be there, Derek?
Tomorrow afternoon,
Yeah, for the, or for the intermediate school?
I hadn't planned on it.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys were all.
I'll be with Derek.
Yeah.
No, if you try to remind me,
Yeah.
I did send an alarm, but
I'll shoot you a text, I'll shoot
Yeah.
everybody a text, just
I
let them
don't think I could be there. Downtown lawn maintenance discussion.
So it was asked that we put this on the agenda. There are, I'm gonna say probably 5 or 6 areas downtown that are in the right of way, are turfed, that we don't currently maintain. And as it says downtown lawn maintenance, I think this is a bigger discussion as a whole, that we have a trail system that we purchased easements and right-of-ways through. Those are dedicated easements and right-of-ways. And while many of the homeowners are mowing their own property, we have a few that are either unable due to age and steepness of the banks, or just have chosen not to. And so I had a lengthy discussion with Tim and David today about what our obligation is and what that looks like. And their take on it is our property in a transaction that actually deeded that property to us. In particular, the trail, the downtown's just a little bit different, but very similar. And that if we were to require the homeowners to maintain it, then we probably wouldn't be able to take, if they chose not to, it would be our responsibility to do it, and we can do nothing about it. So even though we have an ordinance on the books that says, sidewalks and grass areas are the responsibility of the homeowners, in generality, because the way our town is set up, it would probably be ultimately hard to enforce that overall. And I know this started out as the downtown, but this goes into the next step, where our maintenance guys are pushing pretty close now on time and hours and everything they're trying to get done on top of mowing. And even though we have brought on another part-time guy, we're still pushing every week to get everything done. So if they're expected to mow another 4 or 5 properties, we're gonna have to figure out where that's coming from and what we're not doing elsewhere to get that done. So I just wanted to be clear with where we're at. It's not that we can't do it, it's just gonna take some creative work to get to there. Downtown, I think most of the businesses are doing pretty good. I know there's a couple areas that get behind and then they catch up and get behind and catch up. We only have 2 properties along the trail right now that, the one lady actually stopped and talked to me today and just can't physically do it, just because of,
Are you talking like along Hostel Road?
yeah.
Yeah.
You probably know, I mean, you can't miss, if you drive along there, you can't miss, there's a couple that are pretty shaggy. So I guess just from a directional standpoint, a few years ago, when either the end of Pat or when Rod was here, there was letters sent to the downtown businesses that we would not be maintaining any of that down there. And then when I stepped on as president last year, the plaza was not getting done, which is fully owned by us. So which means it's our liability if somebody slips and falls, if we don't do anything and somebody gets hurt. The plaza is our responsibility. And really the sidewalks weren't getting done either, besides in front of Greg's shop and then a few shovels here and there elsewhere. So we've kind of taken over some of that down there with snow removal, which is our slow time of the year. So I'm just trying to figure out a direction from you guys on what you want done and how you want us to handle this. Did I state all that correctly, Tim? You're muted.
Yeah, I think, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you did state it correctly, Tyler. I mean, it really comes down to ownership. If the town owns the property by virtue of having the trail property that was dedicated to us, that's the town's property. If it's an easement granted over somebody's property, they continue to own that property. We can require them by ordinance to maintain it. If we own it, we can.
No, I mean, everybody here, if I don't mow my grass, you can't cite my neighbor for it.
Right.
I own it.
Right. But we have an ordinance in the books that says that if you don't mow between your sidewalk and the street, then you have your responsibility to do that. So the hard part is like many areas in town, your property line stops at the edge of the sidewalk. So that area between the sidewalk and the street is a gray area. And I don't want to get up through town mowing all those spaces. Most people can do it and maintain it themselves, and they're happy to do it. If you would go to, and then our ordinance isn't unusual. That's the same ordinance that's written in the city of Fort Wayne in almost every town. But the trail just brings it up as the fact that it's new, that it's so much length. It's a half day's work by the time you get down and back. So in like downtown, we don't have anywhere to store anything down there, so everything's loaded up, drugged down there, done, and then brought back out. So that's, it's 2 hours of time by the time you figure round trip getting it done. So between those two there, you've almost added another day to your route. And in particular now that you gotta drive around, it's another 15 minutes each direction. So just trying to figure out direction, trying to stay within our budget confines, trying to figure out exactly how we make this work.
I'd have to go downtown. I don't even know what's down there for grass or stuff to maintain.
It's really just like, in front of the cafe, at the corner, both sides of Walnut Street, there's 2 grass strips. And then both sides of Main Street, there's 2 grass strips. And those are small. I mean, it's all push mower work. So it'll all be push mower will be easier. Actually, if we're gonna maintain it, we're gonna probably this fall do some work to make it better.
No, I mean, like you said, it's not the cutting.
Right.
It's loading up, bringing around. It's time consuming.
Right.
Not hard work.
Yeah. So we're gonna lose, like I said, every week. If we mow everything every week, it'll probably be another day's worth of, another 8 hours of time for one guy.
Is it better to just take the grass out, put some stone in there and call it good?
Possibly, but then we still
Spend
have
a little money
yeah.
up front.
So the smaller ones we can, yes, like downtown, we can do some of the small ones. The bigger one down there, I would hesitate to do that,
We don't want to make it ugly.
Yeah, that's.
But the small ones for sure.
Yeah, we can do some of the smaller ones easily, but I would hesitate on the bigger.
Maybe even some on Hostler. I think I've seen some strips like.
Which, that was talked about during that project, but we actually only have one section on Hostler that we have an issue. I have one property, and they're not mowing any of their yards, so it's not even like, everybody else is mowing all over. So on Hostler, from Amstus to State Road 1, we have almost 0 issues, right? Because our right-of-way stops literally at the back edge of that sidewalk, and then like you said, they got one strip to mow out there. So the problem is that if we allow one person to change it up, we really need to do the whole strip
Yeah.
and make it all look uniform. Those people are doing well. It's when you go the other direction, and now they've got 15 feet between the road edge and the trail. That's
In a big ditch.
in a big ditch. Some areas fairly steep.
Probably
Yeah.
not get on there with your riding mower, so.
Some you can, they're all mowable, but you gotta be comfortable doing it, and you gotta have the right machine to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking about today, like I told,
You
like,
ain't got Walmart getting a garden tractor and doing it.
or that's it. Like you put a guard tractor on it, you gotta be. I mean, I don't know that I'd want my mom out there doing it. I guess on a guard tractor, to be fair.
Well, I mean, obviously, we own it, we gotta maintain it. So whatever's not being done, I think we ought to hit every few weeks right now, and I know it's gonna get tall in between,
Right.
but we gotta try to manage time
Right.
and manage the grass as well. And I think, my personal opinion is every other week to keep our guys where they need to be.
Right.
You know, we just finally got a part-time helper, but we don't.
Yeah, like I said, he's utilized up to what he can do per week. I mean,
Yeah, I know they're working.
Yeah, we're pushing them, those boys are pushing.
I see.
Well, there's vegetation that doesn't grow tall, that just stays, you know.
Yeah, which we can go through and change some of
Maybe we look
it.
at something like
Yeah.
that
Some weed.
never has to, huh?
I got some weed kill.
Yeah.
But, you know, something that'll look nice,
Right.
low maintenance, that doesn't have to be mowed.
Yeah.
So I think we need to bring this back to the table when you're back from vacation. And let's maybe have it up and some ideas
Right.
between now and then, which is 4 weeks. Have them do it every other week unless
Yeah.
Greg's that all right with you? Right?
And I think that's fine as long as we can establish and we know, when talking to the maintenance guys, they're like, well, we just don't want to feel like, once you guys feel like we're just not doing something. I'm like, no, they understand that if we have to do something, we got to drop time elsewhere.
Yeah.
You only have so many hours in a week to do it, so. But, all right, that's all that was. As long as we're good with us maintaining our property, and like I said, if people who want to do it, I'm not chasing them down. If they're gonna mow that section between the road and
Yeah, don't tell
we're
us.
gonna skip them. You know, we're moving on, you know. So,
Yeah.
Sounds great. AEP grant.
so Andy Downs reached out to me, has an opportunity for us to get a grant. It's technically gonna be utilized within the parks to upgrade the electrical panels and plugs within the park. Part of this is to help illuminating Leo. So I had to have a letter sent in this week. It's more of a letting you guys know that I requested to enter their grant process. We have not entered their grant process yet. It's just I've requested to, which gets us the next round, which where you can't. So through the AEP Foundation, it didn't sound like there's any matching or anything along those lines. Literally, you fill out the paperwork, and they decide whether you're a qualified candidate or not. So it seems like it's a little bit easy. We tried to get one last fall and it fell through. This one's a lot easier to get in and utilize. So at this point, if you guys want us to pull back out of it, it's free money. I'll do it. If not, then
We need that at the park.
yeah. And that's my side of it. It's an opportunity.
We're gonna get a grant or we're gonna be paying for it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's free money.
Yep. Yep. I think you get a consensus up here to keep moving. I'll just hit your report while you're on the
Yeah.
road.
So I think the other big thing, I'm working on code violations. I've started just calling people and talking to them first and giving them the opportunity to start correcting it ahead of time. I document that I've talked to them, and then the next one will be a letter. Try to give them 5 to 7 days to get it moving. Everybody I've talked to so far or visited in person, they apologize, they understand that they're behind, and they've all made initiatives to at least start the process of getting their stuff cleaned up. So that seems to be working out well. People seem to appreciate the knock on the door and just say, hey, can you help take care of this for us? Or else the next step is where we don't want to be at. So, vacation for myself, I'm looking to leave on the 29th, which is a Sunday, and then I'll be back on July 8th in the office. I sent a note over to Scott.
Yeah, so if anybody needs anything, please reach out to me, and if I don't answer, Greg, and of course, always Angie. The three of us can pull together and get this covered while it's going. Let's try to
And I'll send
leave
you
them
out.
out. I may not, but we should try.
And the only other thing I have on there, and we talked some this morning about it, with Scott and Greg, is, just downtown development, what that looks like and how we get to a place where we have a functioning, working downtown that is attractive, which our downtown's it's not that it's not attractive, it's just we don't have a lot of growth and a lot of businesses sustaining themselves long term. We seem to have a pretty good rollover. So that's one of the things that came out during my IMMA conference. That's one of the big touching points is how to develop and do this in your downtowns. So I think over the next couple weeks or months, I think we need to sit down and really think hard as a council or a subgroup of the council on where we see ourselves and how we want to get there in the next, I'm going to say 10 to 15 years. Because in reality, it's going to take us 5 years to get a plan on the ground, really get rolling with a plan, and another 5 years to get it to be and start to be built. So, and built well. So I know we all have an interest in developing the town and making it look great and doing great things, but we really need that plan encompassed with the envision plan and that plan tied together to give us a good, strong focus on this is what we're going to do first, and this is how we're going to get to our end goal. I know it can change with it as a town council, change out or whatever, but if it's written down, at least it gives us within the office each day, this is our next step, this is our next step, this is our next step. Instead of, okay, well, we need to get this property, we need to do this tomorrow. That's not where we want to be at today, we need to be over here now. It'll give us a good trajectory to get momentum and hopefully create something within the town that will last for many generations. So I don't know how you guys want to do that. We can't obviously all meet as a council, or you guys can't all meet as a council to do it, but I think we definitely need a subcommittee in that realm that will help us create a vision tied in within our comp plan. So
the long story short, there's businesses vacant and we need to figure it out.
and not a list to get back in,
Uh-huh.
and then not a list to get back in.
No, there's no list.
Yeah.
There's
So.
vacant buildings already.
And I've had some high-level conversations with Greater Fort Wayne Inc. and some of the stuff they've done downtown, and they're interested in coming out and getting behind this, and helping us move this project forward and this ball forward. But we need to be on this. We need to have at least a starting place, and at least a group of people that are willing to meet with them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We really should be, Greater Fort Wayne they're doing a lot of great things.
Well, I think, just from, because we almost bought that Beard property back in 19,
Right.
and it all came down to parking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't afford to buy 2 houses just to tear them down, pave a parking lot, because realistically, that's what we needed to do.
Right.
And while we probably could have, got the money somehow to make that happen, from a business owner standpoint, I didn't want to be the guy that's like, oh, hey, you're going over here to Leo Cafe, you can't park here.
Right.
Because I built this and I'm like, in a small town, nobody wants to be that guy that's like, no, hey, this is for Anytime Fitness, or this is for Leo Barbershop, or this, so I think that's something we need to look at, like, okay, I know we did the streetscape, and it looks nice, but I don't know how practical it is for driving business downtown,
It's not, and
I
this
mean,
parking's been on our agenda for over a year.
And the businesses down there will tell you that the parking isn't horrible for what they're doing, but they're also low volume.
yes, but if you want to bring somebody, like a nice restaurant
Right,
downtown,
correct.
you gotta have a place where 40 or 50 cars can park.
Right.
And if it's raining out, or if it's snowing out, they're not gonna park all the way down the street, because,
Right.
well, hey, yeah, we've got 75 parking spaces, but if it's raining, they're gonna be like, we're out, if they can't park close, we're done,
Right.
I mean, there's times we don't go to Leo Cafe, if it's raining after church, it's like, all right, I don't feel like walking
Yeah.
from the bakery shop all the way, to get there, so, well, I'll do it, but some of my
Somebody
family
else
won't,
might not, yeah.
So, I think if we could solve that problem, I mean, that's the beginning,
Yeah.
that's not the answer and all, but.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff there. I think we need to get some sort of vision on, and correct me if I'm wrong, Derek, I don't know if you know things off the top of your head, but the streetscape project has to stay the same for 5 years, is that correct?
This is what they told us at the time we built the project.
And we're 3 or 4 years into that 5?
I'd have to go back and look, that sounds about right.
Because there's definitely some changes we can do along there but NDOT has got to approve those changes too, because some of that stuff was NDOT required changes that we just can't go in and rip out and.
Well, and you may not have to, but
Right.
you know, like, but you know, if you wanna, I mean, ideally, you need an anchor business on the other side of Austin Road.
Yes.
Down towards the barber shop and Leo Cafe.
Right.
I don't know, the candle shop's not it, Marco's Pizza is not it, you know, like, I don't know what it,
They're both vacated.
I'm, right, so I don't know what that is, but like, I don't know, I'd love to see a nice restaurant in Leo.
Yeah, I would too. So, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it looks like, but we definitely need to get the ball rolling, or else every year, every day we don't do it, we're just that much farther behind. And, you know, we already have probably, what, 6 buildings down there empty, 5 buildings down there empty. So, I mean, over half is empty at this point.
Well, some of those buildings are just old, and like, what do you do with them? You know,
Right.
they're good for this, but they're not good for that, you know?
Sure.
And it costs too much money to remodel them, but they want a pretty penny to buy the property, and you can't buy it just to tear it down and make, you know, make that work either, so I don't know what the answer is, but I mean, I think eventually at some point, you're gonna, I don't know if it's historical enough to be like, oh, we gotta preserve this, you know, like you see like downtown Fort Wayne, like, man, you can't tear that down, like, that's beautiful, it just needs to.
And that's the reason I sent you guys that link when I got back, right? I blind carbon you guys that link in the back and just said, hey, this is what this town's doing, and they're doing similar things elsewhere in Indiana. You know, where you don't necessarily have this real, like a Souders general store, right, that Grable has. You don't have the super historic buildings. You know, really, I think probably the Wheeland Furniture, or Wheeland building down there, the Wheeler building is probably one of the anchors, because the other side, they've already removed all where the drugstore is at and all that stuff. That's already gone. Barry tore that down and moved on. So, Grange buildings are what, 18 something?
76, 74.
So, I don't know what that looks like for the rest of those properties down through there, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just thinking out loud at this point.
Yeah.
If I'm a business owner looking to buy something, develop something, like it's gotta make sense financially too.
So.
Food for thought.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we need to get a subcommittee, so if you guys have a passion for this, this is one, and then the other one, and I talked to David Bailey about this the other day, we need to get back on figuring out our zoning code and what that is. I know that we had started with Andy, and I think Rob was on that committee originally, and when Andy passed away, we kind of.
Yeah.
What?
Where's that intern?
He's working on our stormwater
Stormwater
stuff. You
mess.
can't have him yet.
Yeah. And I got 3 other projects waiting on him when he gets done with that. So, so the zoning code is messed up, and we need to get that committee reestablished as well and get moving again on that. So that's, I mean, I hate to say it,
No, it just doesn't stop.
it doesn't. And I found the better you try to do things, the harder it gets sometimes, so.
The more you find.
Oh, yes, yes, so.
All right, let's keep this thing moving. Do we have any miscellaneous business or old business, new business, anything at all?
Well, I think we talked this morning about a couple ordinances that we have to move on and do something about. They're kind of identical in ways and they're not, so, but they all concern the park board. So one of them was back in 2007 and the other one was 2017, and there was a little bit of amendment on one and the other. So basically what we need to do is we need to repeal the 2007-10 ordinance, and then we need to talk about amending the 2011 or 2017 1-11. Excuse me.
So probably the proper order is to handle the 2000s.
So,
Correct.
right at the end of the day here, I talked to the attorneys again to make sure we understand probably how to do this. First of all, just clear action. If you guys want us to remove the 2007, which probably makes no sense, we'll draft an ordinance that will remove that one from our books. for the next meeting, and then whatever we wanna do in the 2017 ordinance, that'll also have to be, it'll be an amendment to that ordinance.
What are those ordinances?
So both of them they're written, like Greg said, they're
They're
mirrored, almost
identical.
identical. There's like one sentence difference with the ex officio member in one.
Yes, they changed
And-
it for the school board
Yes.
appointed member.
So they changed it, and then that's in the 2017 version. But they otherwise.
And outside of town limits, that was the
Yes.
other part, sorry.
Yes, outside of town limits. So the ex officio member has to be a school board member that is appointed by the school board now and lives outside, they can live outside of town limits. Before they used to have to live inside of town limits. Before it was Terry Jo, when she stepped off the board, there was nobody else living inside of town limits that was a school board member. So they redid this ordinance. So they basically just mirrored the same ordinance instead of just amending the original ordinance. So that one needs to go. The other one is the 2017. There's been a lot of talk about the park board, and instead of spinning my wheels and trying to figure out which direction we're going, we need to decide what we're doing. And if they're going to stay in operation as is, that's perfectly great, and we can do that. If they're not, then we probably need to figure out what that looks like as a town, as a whole. And I just need good, solid direction, and we'll make whichever way we go happen. Right?
Well, what I would like to do tonight is, I would like, well, of course, we can't sign it until, we can repeal the 2007-10 ordinance tonight if we have a supermajority vote. But we can all, no, we don't even need a supermajority.
No.
We still need an order.
Yeah.
Let Tim speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Greg, I think we need an ordinance that repeals the ordinance. And we don't have that.
Oh, okay.
But we can accomplish it next meeting by, we would have to go through the process of waiving meeting and all that, but we gotta get it done next time.
Okay.
So if the park board stays in place, clearly this needs done, clean up our verbiage. In the event they don't,
They both get repealed and we move on.
that's,
And that's the clarification, I guess, part.
so that's what you're looking
Yeah,
from
not only
us.
do we need to clean it up, if we just leave it as is, we absolutely have to clean this up to move forward. If we go the other direction, then we need to decide that, and we need to know, so I can get the attorneys working on the exact process, what that looks like. Make sure we have all our T's crossed and I's dotted.
So the question is the park board staying or not? Period.
Well, should we, let's focus on the 2007 one. If we're gonna repeal it, we need a motion to get that.
No, we can't do
Okay.
that.
Not even
No,
nothing
we don't
until,
want to do nothing, we can't do nothing
Okay.
without.
until we get it drafted.
We need a
But-
direction to go.
So is what we don't wanna do is do an ordinance correct 7, do an ordinance correct 17, then do an ordinance to kill it all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, we don't wanna be doing 3 ordinances or 2 ordinances for nothing. You know, we're having open communication, so the question, you know, boils down to, clearly, we're gonna do the ordinance, we plan on doing the ordinance for the 7.
Gotcha, okay.
Now,
Clear.
is the park board staying in place or not? That's the next question, that's the money question.
All right, so we'll have the 2007 ready to go on the next meeting, then we'll take care of that one, mop it up.
And I think at that point, we need to have a clear direction on the rest of what's happening. That's my opinion only.
Yeah, I'd like to get that to you right now, but I wish Rob was here.
Yeah.
Unless it's unanimous, you know, then we continue down the path.
I don't have a problem with you guys thinking about it and getting back and just, that way it's clear. I think that's fair.
What's everybody else's thoughts on it?
Hmm?
What's your thoughts on it?
We take it back.
Hmm?
We take it back.
You take it back? I mean, I like the idea both ways. I mean,
I'm not-
the idea of saving money,
I'm not, you know, dead set against if everybody else wants to keep it in place. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
but we just need some, you know, we're gonna have to dig in and supervise it more and help it. The money's coming from us, so if we have to do all that, we might as well just have it.
And
because,
prime example is also the last meeting. I tried to log in from vacation just so that I could be present for the meeting, and they were not able to start on time, and I couldn't wait. I was gonna try to present right at the beginning of the meeting, just so I could get on, get my stuff done, and get off, and delayed because they did not have a quorum at time.
How many were here, Brian?
I think it was also mentioned at that meeting that last year, 7 of the 12 meetings, they only had 3 board members present.
Well, I guess if they're not gonna take it serious, then
well, you see the problem now.
just wait to be done with it.
Well, it's kinda like what we talked about the last time we were here. You got $150,000 budget, and they put over $250,000 in, $150,000 budget. We need to watch that closer. I mean, and then, yeah, we don't.
I just don't, the only fear I've got is that there is no more park board and we don't have the time and, something
No.
falls apart because we're not
We have an
doing.
administrator.
We would put an administrator in place. That's, I mean.
And it
that-
becomes an agenda item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't it just be like. okay,
So that way they can bring it to us and we don't have to do that.
Okay.
You don't
There
have to-
would,
I like that idea.
there would be somebody sitting there every meeting,
Okay,
explaining what's going on with
Yeah.
rentals,
fair.
everything else, lighting, problems,
Then we can make the
videos.
decisions on where the
bathrooms,
money gets spent,
whatever.
how it gets spent by income and outgoing, everything you've done,
And I'd
The
be
other-
willing to do
The other
more. I
thing's
mean,
the
I could-
electrical that got
2 more
dropped.
months, this project will be done and I'll have some more free time again, but, at least that's my plan.
So the other side of it is while we're on this miscellaneous part, we figured out today, there's about $25,000 worth of, money that is needed to, reseal the playground and replace a slide. And we had talked about possibly need to do an additional appropriation for that money. So the park board doesn't even have the authority to additionally appropriate. They have to request the town council to appropriate more money for them to spend. So,
And then we go through the additional appropriation
Appropriation
process of a public hearing, and then the ordinance, and then filing with the DLGF and all that, and it's, a 2-month process. Or we can just give them some money.
yeah, so that's the other side of it is, by the time we get here next time, Angela and I are gonna work to find cash flow within our current books to be able to roll it without having to do an additional appropriation.
Cause it needs to be done, like, we
It
don't
has to be
have
done
2
by
months to waste time
Well-
on trying to do this the right way.
And I don't disagree, and we're getting ready to move into, more of a drier season coming up. And, we're looking at 4 weeks before he's back at the meeting. I think the next meeting, we really should have that in front of us if we can.
And my plan is to be able to dial in at that meeting and speak to it if I have to. But I think if we work ahead of time, we'll be good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I just think that we need to, next meeting, approve it if we're gonna do it and start getting a plan because someone's gotta put us on their schedule. I mean, we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks
Bless you, puppy.
if we wanna do it.
Yeah, I need to be done by the middle of August.
Yeah, so, we need to handle it sooner versus later.
So, if it matters, I'm good bringing it back.
Later,
You're what?
Bringing it, like you said, bringing the park board back to us.
you're good with that?
Yeah.
Greg?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as long as we got.
So am I hearing a motion?
Well, I think at that point, it gives me good, clear consensus to put the attorneys
Yeah.
on, making sure everything moves
So,
forward.
if,
And
instead of talking, do I hear a motion?
Do we need a motion? Or-
Yeah, we need a
I'd
motion.
like to make a motion that, we start our attorneys looking into the proper paperwork. Is that what you're looking for?
To dissolve the park board.
Oh, I'd like to make
That's-
a motion that we move forward with dissolving the park board.
We got a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? We have a second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous, motion passes.
I'll get the attorneys working on the right processes and we'll have it all ready for you the next meeting.
All right, the meetings are on the bottom, upcoming meetings, but tomorrow, 2 o'clock, is gonna be the real fun one. I think Ryan will be there. Does anybody got anything else for the meeting? Tyler? Greg?
No, sir.
Brian?